What's going on, guys? Here we are once again at Nonfiction Entertainment. I'm Alex. So this is a continuation to my last video. This is part 2 of my last segment, which I talked about adoption. So let me get this out of the way. The reason why I am so dapper right now is because I have an interview in about 30 minutes. I got this coat on because even though it's almost April, it is still cold as shit. So a little recap about my last video. I basically just talked about what adoption means to me, and now this video I want to talk about how I got to how I feel about adoption now. Because growing up with in an interracial group of friends, being the only Asian is a standout alone, But being adopted, like I said in the last video, it puts me in a different community of people. People who are adopted have a completely different outlook on life because a lot of times the beginning of your life is a mystery. I was very fortunate to have parents who were very aware and prepared to understand that I'm going to be very confused when I get a little older, because growing up, you're going to start to realize that there's nothing wrong with not looking like, your family, but it is going to raise some questions. So when we were younger, they decided to join organizations that would help us not necessarily cope with adoption. I would say more attack the situation that, we're going to have some questions and concerns and might as well, start educating ourselves now and associating ourselves with not only adoptees, but it wasn't just for us, me and my sister, it was for my parents too. And one of these early organizations was called FCC, which stands for Families with Children from China. And although me and my sister from Korea, it was just the idea of being around adoptees, fellow adopted families, because we didn't really see any of that in school. During FCC, I was really young. At most I was 11. So I wasn't really mature enough to grasp everything that was going on, why we were there. So fast forward a few years, I'm about 13, 14, and I joined AKA, which stands for Also Known As, and it's also an adoption group where it was awesome, and I recommend that to anybody who is in the New York area, or even even the tri-state, because these groups of people they're run by, I hope they're still run by, two awesome people. We'll never forget their names, Leanne and Brian. They're married and they have beautiful babies. Maybe they're more than one. I don't even know. It's been so long, but they really put that spotlight on who I am as a person and why adoption is so vital to my identity, and I can't ignore it. We would meet once a month in the city, and we would do awesome things. We would see shows, we would go to plays, we would see games, we would go, walk the Brooklyn Bridge, eat at awesome restaurants. But at the end of the day, we would always talk about adoption. And getting that close with the kids and just getting on that level of, listen, we have been where you were, and we want to get you to where we are. They wanted us to see the beauty of what adoption is and the opportunities that we have. I'm going to a job interview. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's certain things that adoption has given anybody who's been adopted the chance to be. So as far as really chasing this quest to find out who I am and get closer and closer to understanding me, my sister was interested, but she wasn't in her mind that much until we got a little older, and she found out about this camp called Holt Camp, and she found out from a friend who she met in FCC, still kept in touch, and her brother was in FCC and AKA with me, and so their parents got into my parents' ears about it. They started talking. They realized this is a good opportunity. I did not want to go. Sleepaway camp, people I don't know. I'm a very personal guy, but I want to be with my friends. You know what I'm saying? she wanted to go. My parents said, go with her. You'll make friends. I said, fine. We get there, and it is just a sea of adopted families, and immediately I knew this is going to be a good week. And it was. It was a life-changing experience, because now I was about 15, and my sister was 11, 12, around that age, and this was so vital because it didn't just talk about adoption, you're special, blah blah. It was, what do you want to know about adoption? What has been inside of you that you didn't even know was there? And for me and my sister, both of that was, where do we come from? Who are our birth parents? That's probably the biggest question is, do I have birth parents? And then it stems from that to, do they think about me? Do they remember me? Do they remember my birthday? Do they celebrate my birthday?